Hey there! Just me being weird. You know how that goes. Hi. Sing a song when you feel down and out. Sing a song, it'll make your day. Sing a song, it'll make your way. A smile is so hard to bear. Sing a song, it'll make a way. And you got no Sing a song, it'll make you way. Sing a song. Sing a song, yeah. Sing a song. Sing a song, yeah. Sing a song for you to see. That's a different song. But yeah, hey guys, hey friends. Hey. For all of you that don't know, my name is William Bryant Miles, but you can call me WBM, and this is what? Wake Up with WBM. Morning TV for the 21st century. We're so progressive, we do this shit at night or whenever we feel like it. Today, I actually know the date. It is the 5th of August in 2020. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it's a Wednesday, and this is every time we do this. So we have a lot to get into, Henny. A lot has happened, not really in the world. I mean, a lot has happened in the world. A lot is happening in the world, but, you know, I'm so self-absorbed. I don't talk about that. So just what's happening with me in my life, so many things, right? And by so many things, I mean nothing. I haven't left the house in a week, which is not true. I have to stop saying that. I actually do leave my house. I go play tennis. I go, well, not play tennis with another person, but I go hit on the wall. I go dancing. I'm not opposed to playing tennis with someone else. I just don't have very many partners. And ones who, this is, to me, it's like, you know, I'm like out here having sex, right? Like, do I trust you? Do I feel safe getting on the court with you? And that when you're not with me, that you're doing what you say you're doing? I don't know. But we've had, you know, so many things going on. I do leave my house. Like I said, I go to stores, not like shop. Well, I'm buying things, but you know, I mean, I haven't just been in the store to browse, but like I've been to IKEA, as y'all say. And that actually was intense because the first time I've been to IKEA twice since this whole, you know, situation. And the first time I played myself and I got there like right when they opened, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Well, I thought it was a good idea. I was like, I'll beat the rush, except that like everybody's fucking home. So everybody had the same idea. So it was like being at Disney World. They had all these stanchions and it just took forever to get into the store. It wasn't too crowded that time. So that was a good thing. And then more recently I went, and so I waited later in the day. And so it was more crowded. They were kind of like holding the interest, but I waited in line for maybe 2 minutes, you know what I mean? But it was popping. It was, ladies, leave your man at home. IKEA's full of ballers and they pockets full of grown. And all your fellas, leave your girl with her friends, cause it's 2:30 and IKEA is jumping. But you know, I did a lot, like, so for me, we're gonna talk a little bit about Corona wins and Rona casualty. Well, I don't know if I should say casualties. I'm not talking about people, and that just got really insensitive. Wins, right? So I've done so many different home projects. The lighting in here is a little different. You may or may not notice that. We have so many different projects going on with that. I have, you know, none of you have been to my home because I'm just so famous and so elusive. I haven't sat down with Architectural Digest yet. But I I don't know what I'm laughing at. I set up some bookcases and I've just been Bob the Builder. And that's actually not me. Like, I'm not a very handy person, but me, myself, and I is all I got till the end. So we've been working it out. But yeah, I got new lighting in here. But some casual, not supposed to call it that, some things that I've lost or that I didn't expect to lose during this whole thing is my sofa. It just didn't make it. I mean, it's made it, like, it's still here, but I have to be really honest with you guys. Like, it's just the one side where I sit, and I guess I could rotate more to just like further destroy the whole thing. But you know, all of these things, all of our furniture, right, is rated for a certain number of rubs for the fabric, a certain number of sits And someone said we need to tour 73 questions. Yes, child, we do. Now, this new lighting, I'm just have to tell you, it looks great for y'all, but I can't see shit. So we'll see how this face really turns out. But the couch is just, I've had it for a little bit of time, so it's not like, I just bought this sofa and you know what I mean? But it's like I probably would have been due for a couch, and like I was mentally preparing to buy one in 2021, and that was going to be more of a like luxurious, like I just want a new couch, you know what I mean? But it'll be fine until then, and when I decide to get a new one, it'll still be fine, like, the day I get the new one. Whereas now it's like, child, if you make it to Christmas with this one, what a gift. And then another thing was I bought these pots last year, and they were from like the Rachel Ray collection, one of her mid-range ones. They weren't, I wanted to get like some Le Creuset or some All Clad or a combination thereof, but that was just not my walk at this time. And so I was like, I'll just get this again, 2021. I don't know what I thought was going to happen in 2021. I'm like, these pots will make it like, a year or two, and they'll still be cute. They won't be raggedy. Honey, for me cooking every day, them pots said, nope, we said we had 300 uses in them, and your dumbass decided to use them all in a 4-month period. You didn't spread that out. That's on you. And I'm like, it's actually not on me, but, whatever. So I'm just curious, like, what have you guys lost that you didn't expect to lose during this time? Or what were some wins? Like I said, a lot of these projects that I've undertaken are things that I have been dreaming of for a really long time. And for whatever reason, a combination of like, energy, time, I was able to do them. That being said, I remember these memes that came out at the beginning. And this light is just really exposing that like this color is just not mine. Like, and we go through this every week, but why not keep talking about it? But I saw those memes at the beginning of this whole situation, and I still, that was saying like, if you don't get done what you wanted to do during this time, then it's not that you lack time, it's that you lacked discipline. And I don't agree with that. Like, I'm not saying that if you haven't had any wins that there's something wrong with you. These are just that you're making it through, I think is, the win. And for me, a lot of this stuff is actually kind of tethered to my sanity. I see someone, Christy Escobar, I hope she's not a drug dealer. Christy Escobar says that she lost her sanity. Or did you gain your sanity? I don't know. Oof. And just a check-in. I know a lot of people were worried about that wig from last week. We were able to restore her, so she's fine. That wax did just wash right out, so no harm, no foul there. But so you lost your sanity. Or did you gain it? I'm unclear. Miss B Spectacle said, wins, adapting to a new business model and becoming an example of success among my peers, overcoming my fear of physically going back into the world. Those sound like great wins. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds like the come up. One of the latter of those, right, you wouldn't have had. Well, actually, I don't know. Are you saying you had a fear of going back into the world before this? And then, like, were you just reclusive before this? And then this helped you to overcome that fear? Or are you saying that, you were able to get over your fear of going back into the world related to this? Either way, congrats on those wins. But, the former one wouldn't have necessarily been the latter wouldn't have been a thing, potentially. So I've also been watching a lot of like streaming services or whatever. And so for those of you that don't know, Netflix, right, who's been hard pressed for content, spent some money and finally got a lot of the classic Black sitcoms that used to be on like UPN. Most of them were on UPN because I don't have the whole list. My assistant, again, not being able to be in here, sometimes things don't get sent over in the right time. So if you are looking for an internship that doesn't pay, even though I'm morally opposed to unpaid internships, you can send me your resume and maybe you can do all this stuff for me. But they got a bunch of shows. So it's like Girlfriends, UPN, Half and Half, UPN, The Game, UPN, and then BET. Moesha, UPN. sister, WB. But you know, UP and the WB, they like, as with everything in life, right? Like we just always, black folk was just always in the second rate, whatever. Christy Escobar said, I lost my sanity, but I realized it's overrated. That would have been funny though if you said I'm overrated. So let's just rewrite the joke. But yeah, so they got all those sitcoms, cool, you know, and so I was like, let me watch Moesha from the beginning, because one thing I do enjoy pre all of this, I've always loved watching old things, and that's actually like, especially things that I either never experienced, right? So I can come with fresh eyes, or things that I love, which I guess kind of is everything. Although there are things that you experience but didn't love. But with fresh eyes and like see, okay, you know, understand it better, especially now that you know, in the case of Moesha, I'm older. And I didn't really watch Moesha that much in the beginning. I think part of it was like me in some weird ways trying to perform masculinity and being like, that's a girl show or something. I don't know. I was more Team Monica in my youth. If there were teams or whatever. But I don't know, I'm looking for it right now. Oh yes, I do. So I didn't really watch that show as much as perhaps I could have, but I watched it on Netflix, and it's, on the one hand, I mean, the kids are not having it. Like, a lot of people have already started, you know, they talking about how trashy Frank, her father, is because he was misogynistic and overbearing and kind of like elitist and all this stuff. And my thing is like, he absolutely was all of those things, but that's how a lot of your daddies are in real life. So, are you mad at them, or are you mad at him, or are you mad at the writers for exposing your life? You know, just let me know. So there's that. And then, but I watched like I watched literally 20 episodes. Like when I was putting together those bookcases, you know, I watched like 20 episodes literally, which was like a season and some change. And so it's also interesting to see, like, you know, because Niecy wasn't series regular until season 2, and she really didn't even come into the show until later in the second season. I mean, later in the first season. And then, like, seeing the cameos. There's so many cameos from, like, you know, staple black actors at the time. For example, Kelly, whatever her name is, Laura Winslow was on there. Eddie Winslow made a cameo, not as their characters, but the actors' names. And then even like, what's that child's name? Gabrielle Union was there doing her Gabrielle Union thing. Not Karen Molina White. Melinda Williams, is that her name? She was there. You know, it's just a lot of the people. It's like, ooh, you know, the gift of hindsight, where you get to see where people's careers went versus where they started, is just always kind of interesting to me. And it's not upsetting to me and my homegirls. So, yeah, but there were some problems with the show, for sure. But there also were some really interesting things as well, I think. And I appreciated that they were trying to be a little bit topical. The thing that fucking fried my brain, though, was that, like, at the start of the series, Dee, who is played by Shirley Ralph, she was like 38, right? And I think Shirley Ralph looks fabulous. And the husband was 38. He was 38, she was 39, or something like that within those 20 episodes. At some point in those 20 episodes, that was their age. And it just fried my brain, because I know people, I have friends who are 38, and like, I have friends who are 70, but friends that we like grew up together, went to college together. And so it's just so weird to me, because they, you know, those people seemed so old back then, and now they don't. Like, that's not how I feel like we look. And so I'm like, I do think that, like, 38 has changed. For example, most of my friends do not have, like, teenage daughters and are on their second marriage. Some people are, but that is kind of, like, not the norm. And then, yeah, you know what I mean? So there's all of that. But it was just really interesting. I'm trying to, like, focus and see if I can do this right for once. I don't think today's my day, but we'll see. But yeah, so I don't think it's essential viewing, but if you put together a bookcase and you just want to watch 20 episodes or something, and the only thing you need to click is, yes, I'm still watching. And they have, you know, it's a great theme song, so that's great. Like, I never skip the intro. I would recommend it, but I'm just not that pressed. And then they had an episode where they were exploring queerness, which was just, I mean, it was 20 years ago, but it felt really clunky to me because they didn't really explore much. They just accused someone of being gay and then was just like, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. And I saw something with the writer on Twitter, and he was saying that at the time they thought that that was the more progressive take, right? To just be like, we're not going to name it because, I think that like that was a thing for people to just be like, you can be, closeted and that's okay when you're ready. Not beating that horse today, but one thing that I did, I'm not gonna say stumble upon because it's not news. But one thing that really became clear to me, and I just want you guys to sit with this as you think about whatever. The opposite of pride is not privacy, it's shame. So just remember that like when people are saying like, I'm fine with how I am, I'm just choosing to be private. Okay, but the opposite of pride is not privacy. It's shame. Moving right along. Netflix also has another show. Oh no, so then this is the other thing with Netflix, right? So then I was, watching some other things. They labeled some stuff like the Black Lives Matter collection, which I saw like, like the brothers and just random black movies. But then what I thought was interesting is that like, and this is I'm the heavy sigh is because I'm trying to figure out like, I don't even know what the solution to my question is going to be. And sometimes I don't like asking questions. Not that I don't like asking questions I don't know the answer to, but like I can't be critical of someone, like ask a critical question if I'm like, well, child, you can't solve it either. You know what I mean? Like you ask questions you don't know the answer to learn. But if you're asking questions to provoke, you probably should have not necessarily the solution, but a solution. But someone said, it's only been 17 minutes. How'd you get all that on your face so fast? We're learning and growing together. And I said someone as if you can't see, it says of noble birth. But so they have the Black Lives Matter collection, and it was just so interesting to me because I should have written down what black movie it was, but it was a movie with like an all black cast. And then right under that, it was like, watch again, Good Girls, which stars Retta, right? And that wasn't included in the Black Lives Matter collection. And I mean, I get it because there's three female protagonists, 3 lead characters, 3 women whose pictures are on the faces are on the thing, of which 2 are white. You know what I mean? So in a way, it would be weird perhaps to say that this is the Black Lives Matter collection and that these 2 white actors. But then on the flip side, it's like Retta is a main character and she has a whole family, all of whom are black. She has a black husband, she has black children. That I'm like, and to me, I know that it seemed like all of the Black Lives Matter stuff was kind of like a lot of racially centered stuff. And to me, Black Lives Matter is not only about our stories that are explicitly dealing with our blackness, our identity. And usually, unfortunately, in Hollywood, our identity is rarely explored in the construct of itself. It is explored in relationship to whiteness. And that's very unfortunate. But, it is what it is. And so that is a part of it, but I also think that like Black Lives Matter is about just like the whole of us, and there are people out there who have different stories, and I don't know that those stories shouldn't be included in a conversation around Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? Like I think that like what I'm always fighting for is the complexity, right? Like not that we should ever have like a single, like blackness is not myopic, it is not singular, it is not, well, it's singular in like in relationship to other racial identities, it is singular in that way, but it is not a monolith. That's what I meant, not even myopic. It is not a monolith. And so I don't think that it should be considered in such a small box, right? Like, I was, what I always like to say to people, I was talking to one of my mentees one time, and he was not struggling, but he was just, having some questions around like, because he's into certain things that have not been pegged as black things, like certain comic books and certain things, he was just like, I'm black, but I like these things. And I was like, well, you are black. So everything that you are is blackness, right? And like, that is kind of my mantra. And I think that like, we have to really embrace that and be okay with that, even when sometimes it's complicated, unless it's Tyler Perry, that's anti-black. But I kid, but not really. But you know what I mean? It's like we have to be able to embrace the whole and the complexity and the complications of that. And so I would challenge whoever dreamed up that like Black Lives Matter thing to maybe rename it. You know what I mean? Because then if I see The Help in the Black, let me actually look that up right now. If The Help is in the Black Lives Matter collection, I'm gonna have to cancel my friend's Netflix subscription that finances my Netflix life. Shout out to you. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Because The Help is, I don't know what that is, but that ain't Black Lives Matter. Not in the world we live in. Let me just look up the Black Lives Matter collection. I wonder if I type in Black Lives Matter. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. Let's click it and let's just see titles in Black Lives Matter. 13th, LA 92, Provocative Gritty, The Five Bloods, Let It Fall, When They See Us, American Son, Dear White People, Mudbound, the Khalif Browder story, Get on the Bus, Teach Us All Day and Night, Becoming, Pose, Trigger Warning, Miss Virginia, which is also on BET, Moonlight, See You Yesterday. Okay, so there is a range, but I'm just curious as to how they, I guess it has to be things that are just the whole story is Black. Okay, I'm not as mad as I once was. Maybe I should have did this before I got on here. But then I like to do these things and grow with you guys together. And to let you know that I'm not beyond reproach. That I can change and evolve and grow with you in the moment. You know what I mean? So that's that. So then the other thing, though, I saw on Netflix coming down the pike, ain't got nothing to do with Black people, even though I think Don Cheadle's on there. But this show called Ratched. And I have to say that when I saw that, I got really concerned. And then I saw Ryan Murphy was producing it, and I got really, really concerned because I was like, woocha, up? Excuse me. I'm like Wendy Williams over here just belching and shit. But Ratched with a D, not with a T. And I was like, okay, maybe this isn't what I think it is. And it wasn't. It's not Ratched, but it's about the origin story for Nurse Ratched from One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But it's like a period piece, and it's Sarah Paulson being crazy and murderous. And I'm actually very curious and intrigued, even though I don't really fuck with Sarah Paulson ever since 12 Years a Slave. I just think she played that role too good. I would have a hard time. I mean, if I saw her at a dinner party, I probably would go up to her just because I would I need to know, sis, are you, as racist as you seem to be in that movie? Because when she hit Lupita upside the head, I was just like, you just look like you were just too comfortable doing that. And I get that you're an actor and you're a good actor, blah, blah, blah. But I just had a hard time separating what's real from what's fake. You know what I mean? But you know what happened here? This concealer, I realized what I don't love about it is that it dries down really quick. And so if you don't play with her quickly, it just gets a little stiff. And I just put it too thick also. So trying to blend her down right now is not really my jam. But we'll work it out. I knew I was going to need that white. Oh, here it is. But yeah, so that was going on with Ratched, but it looks pretty interesting. It's 8 episodes. I'll probably watch it in a day. I need to do better about portion control. That's something I struggle with in general. I just be like, let me just eat the whole fucking cake so I'm done. Tomorrow I'll be better, right? And so let me just watch all 20 episodes of Moesha today. Tomorrow we'll make a different choice. Maybe not the best way to savor things. I'm not good at savoring the moment. I just want to overindulge and then be done with it. Also, speaking of streaming, I'm going to get to what y'all want to talk about. Y'all going to be disappointed with what I have to say, but Disney Plus is going to bring Mulan there, but apparently she's charging $30 for Mulan. And I mean, first of all, like I said, I didn't say this before, but I'm tired of remakes, right? I just feel like there are too many stories, too many human beings on Earth for us to not be able to come up with new stories. I just think that it's kind of, but y'all keep buying it. So I get why Disney keeps doing it, because this way they don't have to pay, the same fees they'd have to pay for someone coming up with a brand new story from scratch. They just be like, here's a couple dollars to remix this. It's our story. So we just literally asking you to remix it. Oh, this is looking very, I don't know. I look like a poodle. Going somewhere with that. But yeah, so that $30, which I guess is like, if you took a date or if you have kids, it's Mulan, and you took them to see it, it'd be cheaper to do it this way. But I'm still sitting in the house. And it was like another movie I wanted to see called You Should Have Left. And then when I saw they wanted me to pay $20, or just like that Tracy Ellis Ross movie, and they wanted me to pay $20 to sit in my house and watch it, it just feels wrong. I'll just wait till it come out on Netflix. Like, I just don't feel the pressure to be like, I need to watch this today. There's nothing about it that is putting the pressure on. And I'm not getting surround sound. I'm not getting, a hand job in the back, last row. Just kidding. And so to me, it's just like, why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't. For me, it wasn't, it's not very compelling. Are you guys going to watch it for that much? If y'all have kids, are they going to want to see it? And I'm like, I just feel like I can just watch it on YouTube. But I'm not going to watch it at all. Like, let's just keep it 100. It can come on Netflix. It can be shown for free. I'm not watching a live action Mulan. Although, if Christina Aguilera can get back and lace that track, I can pretend that I'm someone else for all time. When will my reflection show who I am inside? When will my reflection show? I don't know what that was. And then the other gag with that whole thing is, it's a rental. So I'm paying $30 to hit it and quit it. Are you kidding me? Child cheese. I wish somebody would. Somebody will. I don't actually care if they do or don't. So maybe I shouldn't say I wish they would. I wish someone would ask me to do that. Girl, you must have done lost your mind. You must have done lost your mind. Before we get into what y'all homegirl on, since we were already talking about whatever, before we get into your homegirl on Disney Plus, I just also want to tell y'all, P-Valley, I mentioned it before. I definitely think it's a show that needed to gel, which a lot of shows do. A Different World, we're looking at you. You had a whole fucking season of bullshit. And so I think that like now though it's really hit its stride and it's doing some really, really interesting things. The way they're exploring queerness, I think is interesting. Again, my advice is do not take that show seriously. Well, let me not say don't take it seriously. It's not, I don't think, and if this is what they intended, then we're going to have another conversation. But I don't think the show is intended to be like a slice of life. This is absolutely true. I think that there are some soap opera, very stylized elements to it. And it's like, once you accept that, I think you're able to release into it. And then the pacing, they had a lot of exposition over multiple episodes. And so now they kind of got that out the way. So now we're really getting into the story. And, probably could have got there sooner, but hey, not my show. We're here. And it's doing some really interesting things. The other thing on the show, on the TV, is I May Destroy You, is, winding down. We're in the last third. And I don't want to spoil that at all, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but I think it might be time for Arabella to get into Inpatient. Like, I just don't think her being in these streets is serving her. That being said, how'd she get back from Italy? I wish we could explore that from last week's episode, not this week's episode. And then the last thing I was going to say about that show is Terry, shout out to her, which, I hated her in the beginning, and everything I said is still true, but people are complex. And I will say that, like, for all the foolywag she started with, she really is putting in the work trying to help her girlfriend get back on the good foot and trying to keep their little friend group together. So I just want to let her know, if she's out there watching, which she is, because she's not a real person, she's just a character, but then also she's not, because she's not a real person, she's just a character, that I see what you're doing, girl, and I respect and appreciate it. So those were all my other things. And so if you haven't noticed, I'm giving you international teas today. This is from India by way of Jackson Heights, Queens. We didn't have our normal debrief. No, we didn't. You don't answer your phone. And so you always hate the good friend. Why do I keep saying that? I don't. First of all, I just said that I didn't hate her, so I don't understand. y'all just always want me to turn a blind eye. And Molly is not a good friend, or at least this last season. Even if you team Molly, I think one thing that's clear, right, is that like Molly was not a good friend to Issa in the way that Issa wanted a friend. I'll put it that way. In the way that Issa wanted a friend this last season, Molly does not rate on the like, you my good friend, girl list. So, I ordered a pencil sharpener. It didn't get here, so I might not be able to line both lips. I'm sure somebody has like a hack, but I remember, you know, I grew up in New York City, right? If you've ever met me, I'm sure you know that. Most specifically, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. But a lot of people in New York City are from the South, namely my mother, but a lot of the people that, you know, helped to raise me. And so my neighbor, he was an old country man, and he actually taught me how to sharpen a pencil with a knife, but I didn't listen. That wasn't really my jam. So here we are. Molly is a good friend. Okay, good. How did she get back from Italy? We don't know, child. That is just, you know, QTNA. People always do the lips last. Is it because you just talking in the video, or because it's going to wear off the easiest? I don't like to do my lips last, just because I want to be contrarian. So, Black is King. Oh, so I was saying, I'm giving you Indian. I'm giving you, it's going to be a whole little multi-culti story. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. No, I have to talk about this one. Duh. So there's another movie on Netflix that I watched called Seriously Single. And Netflix has a lot of African movies. It's a South African film. Netflix has a lot of African films, right? And I noticed this especially towards the earlier part of quarantine. Like Amazon used to have all of the Nollywood films, which come out of Nigeria, Ghana. But then I noticed that Amazon, you know, got some of them. And I think, like I said, it's because they just needed content during the quarantine. Whatevs. But then what was interesting, so I was like, let me just watch this. I don't love the Nollywood films. Some of the older ones that are on YouTube, when they were like really, you know, low budget, I can enjoy a bit. Like Beyonce versus Rihanna, that was a good one. That's the only one whose name I can remember. But some of them, because there's just like a really, you know, it's like watching the web series Anacostia, right? Which I thoroughly enjoyed, and even still enjoy, like reflecting on, because there was this it's not deliberately low budget. They are working with what they have, but because it's so low budget, it doesn't take itself like too seriously. And on the one hand, they're being very serious with what they have, but then on the other hand, I think I want to open this up. I think I'm going to open it up. I might regret it, but we'll see. I don't want to do it. Yeah. They, you know, there's something charming about the low budget of it all, but then it's like once they get a little bit of money, it starts to lose some of that like visceral, you know, whatever. And it's not humble anymore, and it's just, you know, I think what it is that like, I hope this don't sound shady, but the talent level isn't always the highest. And so when you're super low budget, it's like, okay, it's fine. We know that it's low budget. But then once you got a little bit of money, it's like, oh, you got a good camera, but now this shit is just bootleg. So it's like the issue wasn't that you didn't have resources. It makes it very clear that the issue was perhaps the ability. You know what I mean? And so that is what it is. But this film is called Seriously Single, and it's a South African film with Black South Africans. And so when I first started watching it, at first I was like, ooh. You know, because they got good cameras. But I was like, is this like South Africa's answer to like A Fall from Grace? You know what I mean? Like there were certain things happening. But then I had to check myself. And I'm going to tell you what I had to check. And it just changed everything for me. I was like, this is a South African film. And this is also true for what I was saying about the Nollywood films, right? But it's like, it's a South African film. And so the things that I'm saying that I don't like maybe are not necessarily quote unquote incorrect. they are just things that I'm not enjoying, and that before I automatically start to critique it, right, I need to take a step back and just try to understand what I'm watching. Because whereas I can watch A Fall from Grace and immediately I know the lit people that this piece is about, I also know the construct, the greater construct in which this work is being created, right? American film, right? That's something that I know very well. And I understand American humor, I understand American storytelling. And so I have enough information to formulate an opinion out the gate. You know what I mean? You should still always kind of like watch the whole film before you fully critique it. But I can be watching something and say, I don't believe, Brisha Webb in this moment, her character would do this because I know these women and I also know how stories are told in this culture. That is not true for me and South Africa in either instance, right? Like I don't know the individual women or males or whoever these people are, and I don't know how they tell these stories. So maybe for once in my life, doesn't happen often, I should just sit the fuck back and just watch what's happening. And so that's basically what I did. And, and that's what I've done with the Nollywood films. And then it's fine for me to say, which I think I've done with the Nollywood films, say, okay, I get it, but it's not for me. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I have to enjoy it. But it was like, I was talking to somebody once where it's like, there's a difference between, like, everyone's entitled to their opinion on anything, right? Any of us can have an opinion on anything, whatever. It's a free country, blah, blah, blah. That being said, it doesn't mean that your opinion is valid, right? Like, I can have an opinion. I think that you have cancer. That's my opinion. I WebMD'd it, and, based on what I read in the Google, you got cancer. I'm entitled to that opinion. It's not very valid because I have no credentials in that space. You know what I'm saying? And so too, I believe, is like when people are discussing art, and that's like one of my peeves as an artist, right? Is that like, there really isn't, you can go to school for it, but you don't have to, and nothing's going to stop someone who isn't trained from having an opinion, and they're allowed to. It doesn't make it valid. You know what I mean? If they don't know anything about what they're talking about. Now, I think that what doesn't have to be validated is whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? So, you just don't like it, and that's fine. That being said, I thought Seriously Single was kind of cute. There were a couple of things I was like, and then it was also an opportunity for me to learn. And there were some things, I really need to get some non-ashy eyeshadow. How about that? There were a couple of things that were, I was like, oh, I like the way they did that. And, it definitely was a good, not that I think they were trying to do this, but it was a good little showpiece for South Africa. Like, the sets looked great, made me want to go hang out there and all of that stuff if I'm ever allowed to get on an airplane again, if I'm just not persona non grata because of my passport. So there's that. But then, so that looks crazy, as I suspected. But, here he is. Ooh, child. We gotta move to hair. So, that was cool or whatever. But the thing was, there's one actor in it. Her name is, I don't want to mess it up. Her name is Tumi Morake. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but Morake. She's a South African actor, black lady, and she was really funny in the film. She's not the lead, she's a supporting, she's the best friend. And for all y'all that say I hate best friends, this is the best friend that I very much enjoyed. And she's a comedian, and apparently she's a big deal in South Africa, and it seems that she should be. She has a Netflix special called To Me or Not To Me. And I started watching it. I enjoyed it. The one thing with it is that, like, between the accent, and they also, the little bit I know about South Africans, they're all like polyglots, and their culture is just an amalgamation of so many things. And so they speak a lot of, different languages. So she'll be sliding between, the special is in English, but she slides in a lot of, which I'm assuming are just a part of like South African, English or South African vernacular English. She slides into like a lot of other phrases that I'm not familiar with. So I had to watch with the captions on, which means that I have to watch it, which means I can't be like building a bookcase, for example, or doing, something else. So but yeah, she's really, really funny. And I enjoyed it. The only thing with her special, which I thought was interesting, and I was reading up on her, she's a trained actor, she went to drama school, etc. Great. But there was a big ass picture of Marilyn Monroe on the stage. I only got like 20 minutes into the special, so I can't maybe it's explained. But that was a little frustrating to me to just be watching this beautiful black woman, right? This beautiful African black woman. And she's standing on stage with Marilyn Monroe, like sharing the stage with Marilyn Monroe. And, you know, I've seen the memes that apparently Marilyn Monroe was, you know, kind to us and all of this, that, and the third. So I'm, you know, I'm not hating on Marilyn Monroe, but I just don't know that anyone needed to be there. That being said, I was feeling very Cocoa Bready today. Is that racist? But all my Howard people will get it. Even though now when I put on, it's looking more Shirley Temple curls. But we're going to make this work. So, because we're going to tease this out very quickly. But I was feeling very Afrique. So she walked across the ocean apparently, or maybe they will give us a flashback, like with the abortion. Oh, that was about what's that child's name? Arabella on I May Destroy You. So yeah, so now what y'all, the main event, Black is King. I didn't see it, so I don't really have much to say about that. I'm not joking. I didn't see it. I'm a little like, I'm maxed out on Beyonce personally. Leave out, LO. Oh, I got something to come for that. This is not the hairline. Come on now. Don't do me like that. The reason why I haven't watched Black is King, one, if somebody want to send me a Disney Plus password, you can just slide into my DMs here. Great. And then maybe I could watch Hamilton 2 also. Or is there a Hamilton 2? Would not be surprised if there's a Hamilton 2 called Lincoln. But the main reason I watch it is that not pressed is like, the only reason I want to watch it is to just be in the conversation. Like, personally, I am exhausted of Beyonce at this point in my life. And I was explaining to a friend, I was like, you know, to me, Beyonce is the person where it's like, we're friends, we're good. We weren't good for a while, and then we're good now. And so it's like, I don't need to necessarily check in all the time. You send them a text, you know, congratulations on this. If there's a baby shower, I go to that. If I could make it, if I couldn't, I just send a gift and a card. They acknowledge receipt. You send some heart emojis. And it's like, there's no shade here, but that's not the homegirl that I'm calling on a Tuesday to talk about nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not where we are. And I'm not just sending texts like, you know, WYD. Or girl, did you hear about so-and-so? But if she was at the function, we could have a whole kiki. We might even sit at the table by ourselves and have a whole kiki because there's no shade and we are friends. But, you know, I'm just like, do I need something new from Beyonce? And I'm not sure that I do at this point in my life. Because it's, I don't know. That being said, I'm aware of what, and then it was like, the other part of it was, if this would have been an original story, like if this wouldn't have been The Lion King, I think I would have been all over it. You know what I mean? Just because I'm like, I need to see, because that's what everybody's talking about. But I'm like, I'm just done with like the same fucking stories. Like, there's just so many other things. And then especially if we're trying to do something as a celebration of Blackness, it would be really, I mean, I know that The Lion King is set in Africa broadly, but this one is really coming together, I think, as I, you know, shred it. It would be more exciting to me if we were able to have a story that came from the Black imagination, right? Like, and, you know, but I've seen some of the, that being said, I've seen a lot of the critiques that y'all have for her, and I don't think that they're warranted, even without having seen it, because I think that, like, Africa is not a monolith, but Beyonce also is not the official authority on Africa, right? So I don't think that just because Beyonce is doing a piece that has broad African influences that, like, she's politically incorrect. Like, I think that we get into a real dangerous place where, when are we not allowed to be inspired? Right now I'm wearing a top that's from India. I have on a bracelet that's from South Africa. I have on a bracelet that's from the fucking thrift store. Who knows where it came from? Probably made in China. Like, you know, and a wig, right? Am I not supposed to wear any of these things because they are not authentic to me? Or can I say that, like, I'm inspired, you know, I saw this look, which is exactly what happened. I was like, oh my God, I love Indian male formal wear, right? Like, even more than American formal wear or Western formal wear. It's beaded and it's silks and it's bright colors. I want to wear one. Why can't I wear it? Someone sold it to me. Like, is that cultural appropriation? I don't think so. I think it is cultural appropriation if I said this and I was like, look, y'all, I found something that y'all never heard of. The original Lion King story is from the Black imagination. How so? They say it's alternatively, some people say it's based on Hamlet. Or are we going down the whole Shakespeare's Black thing? And then there's also that whole, the White Lion. I think it's what it's called, the White Lion, the whole Japanese story that is eerily similar to Disney's The Lion King in terms of how it's drawn and all of that. So tell me more. Maybe I don't know. Again, maybe this whole episode is about me. It's so crazy to think that like maybe somebody would have wore this wig just out the bag like that. But sometimes you just gotta work it out. It's not, I'll share. It's not, I mean, are you gonna share here or are you just gonna leave everyone hanging? 1 second, not Hamlet. But but that being said, even if it's from the Black imagination, girl, we done seen it in a movie. We saw it on the Broadway. I saw it on the West End. I saw it I didn't see the second movie. It's like, girl, even if it's from the Black imagination, the Black imagination is way bigger than one fucking story that people just have to keep regurgitating. And so I'm like, I just don't really have time for that. You know what I mean? And I'm about to pull out something else, some more Africanness. I don't know how I want to tie this though, because we can always go to my standard. Let's try that. Let me just see if that'll work it out and twist it around. But I don't know. I just feel like we're being a little like precious about cultural appropriation, right? And then the other thing is like, if that's cultural appropriation for Black, as a Black American, then I'm like, anytime any of them say "okur," anytime any of them are using our Black vernacular English, which to me or not to me, twek, bitch, twek, they twerking and everything, then is that cultural appropriation? Or is it that we live in a world where ideas, they say that like the Italians got the noodles from China, you know what I mean? Like they did their own thing with it. It's like, or is this just that it's a dangerous dance, right? And to me, the line for cultural appropriation is like I was saying, if I would just put this on, I'm like, look what I discovered. Bitch, you didn't discover shit. You walked to a store, which means that people have been making this long before you came and they were not making it for you. So you didn't discover it. You encountered it, but that shit has been going on long before that. So that is not a discovery. You know what I mean? And so I think that in that regard, I would be culturally appropriating if I said that I discovered this. I actually like this hair more than I thought I was going to. So I think I'm going to not really keep a lot of it out. I'm going to keep a lot of it out. You know what I mean? Like to me, that is, and so I'm just like even when white girls wear braids, I don't have a problem with white women wearing braids. I really don't. I don't really give a fuck. My only issue with white women wearing braids is if you think that you discovered something, right? If you're doing it as a costume to be ironic, that's kind of offensive. Unless you're if you were playing Dion from Clueless, for example, I think that wearing braids would be totally appropriate. Darkening your skin, not so much. But like the character had braids for the whole film. I think it makes sense for you to have braids if you played that character. And you wear a hat and whatever. But the other thing is, I also have an issue when Keisha or Patricia wears, Black girls wear braids and they're called ghetto or unprofessional or whatever, but then when you do it, it's fashion. You know what I mean? You want to now put it on the runway and feel like you're being so edgy and provocative because you discovered something or you've repurposed it. That to me is like, girl, no. But if you just want to wear braids because you walked into and you're like, oh my God, that hairstyle's so cute, I want to try it. Quite often when white girls wear braids, I don't think it looks the way that they think it does, but Bo Derek did that. I'm not going to lie, but I just hate that, I need to cut this fabric, but I'm not going to. It's really thick. It's really thick. Oh, I know what I can do. You know what I mean? That to me is cultural. I don't think that was necessarily cultural appropriation, but I do think it's funny that she can be on the cover of a magazine doing it, but could Beverly Johnson, you know what I mean? How would y'all have felt if it was her, Beverly Johnson, wearing that? That to me is when I'm like, oh, there's a difference. But yeah, so that being said, I'm here for the film. And then, someone else was saying that Beyonce, yeah, I don't know. And I do appreciate that, like with the Wiz, right? Like that we're taking blackness and exaggerating it, to as the basis for our creative expression. You know what I mean? That like we don't only have to think about European bundles if we're gonna get fake hair to tell us a fashion story. It doesn't only have to be Eurocentric styles. You know what I mean? That like our styles can be explored and exaggerated and teased out in the same way and centered. So I'm, in that regard, I'm here. Oh, fuck me. Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me. I got makeup on this damn thing. That, you know what I mean? Like, to me, this is not doing what I wanted to do because I don't have space. That is how I feel about that. But how do y'all feel about it? Like, do you guys think that they were being culturally appropriationist? Do you think it's inappropriate? And then, the fact that it was an amalgamation of all these different things. I'm like, well, ain't Hakuna Matata in Swahili? Like, which ain't, some of us, maybe our origins are that, but that ain't really where we're from. Ooh, child, I gotta bring this way more forward if I'm gonna do that. Yeah. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's a problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. So that is, yeah, you know what I mean? But maybe I'm the only person that needs a break from Beyonce. Y'all seem to love it. And I also think that, like, if she has an audience that wants to see her, I don't have no beef with her. I don't think that there's anything morally or fundamentally wrong with what she's doing. And, from what I can see, ooh, this hair is setting it off. From what I can see, I'm trying to get this thing to tuck. From what I can see, everything is beautiful. Like, it seems to all be shot well and all of that stuff. So shout out to Beyonce and the Parkwood team. One thing I do wonder though, right, and this is having seen the Parkwood team work, and then even watching like Homecoming, is we know that Black people are always invited to not always, but Black people are invited to the creative table now more than they historically have been. I'm curious, this is a genuine question. I'm not saying this accusatorily. I just wonder how many like Black designers, and I don't just mean like the fashion designers, but like lighting designers, the technicians, grips, best boys, camera operators. Like, I wonder what that looks like. Genuine question, not an accusation, just wondering. I hope that there is an opportunity to, let me try to buff this out a little more. But it's too dry now. That's what I was telling y'all. It's too dry. You know what I mean? There's an opportunity to diversify that sphere as well. But we don't know. So let's just make my whole face red. Ooh, and that just killed my highlight. So that's my hot take on that. I always thank you guys for joining, because without you guys, it's just me getting dressed up to go nowhere. I want to encourage you to choose joy. If you want to take a screenshot. And that's all I got on that. Maybe I'll see Black is King the next time we speak. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Nothing against it, but I just haven't seen it. You can always drop a comment. If you're not watching this live, I can't respond to you in the moment, but I love checking in the comments and seeing what you guys have to say. I also have plastic hair all over my face right now. This is synthetic hair. I also got some bundles we're gonna play with. I'm just gonna tease this a little bit. Look at this. This is French Refine Wet and Wavy, and this is human hair. Oh no, maybe it's not. Oh yeah, 100% human hair, but it says made in China. It's tangle free. Look at that. Can't wait to see what we can do with that. Look at that wave. Put that to one side, and then I have another bundle here. This is Premium Romance Curl, 100% tangle free. This one is a 14-inch, a nice manageable piece. Outre, which everybody loves. Oh, this is a whole wig. With a little bang. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. So yeah, so that's what I got. I just want to remind you kids to choose joy. Oh, child, let me not mess the hair up. I kind of want to, we'll see what I do with this. So yeah, you know, if you're not watching this live, or even if you are watching this live, since I'm about to log on, I would love for you to share what you want me to do with these things, how you'd like to see them come to life. Maybe some themes. Today's theme was international. You know, so that's all I got. Choose joy. Bayang. What'd she say? Bayang. That girl in the video stresses me out though. But yeah, that's all I got. So excited for what's to come. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Love you all. Be blessed. Bye. Bye bye. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna.